I know what you're thinking. Sometimes you see these videos and you go, Doug, how do you keep your t-shirts looking so good? This came out in 1992 and it looks immaculate. How'd you do that? I'm going to share my secret. Hey, Romeo, how you doing? My little secret is that I wear the shirt just about once or twice a year. Take good care of it. You know, I used to do business with a company I'm going to talk about a little bit later, a fantastic company. One thing they did that was funny but mean is I sent them a question. I wanted a quote for some trading cards, you know, and they sent me this. This is a picture of Conrad Dobler, the dirtiest player in the NFL. He used to write letters in the offseason to the defensive linemen that he'd be going against that year, especially his divisional opponents. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals when they were in St. Louis, and they were in the NFC East, and played the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles twice, in the Redskins, twice a year. And so I get this thing back from one of the people over there at this great company. Doug, here is the sample of the trading card. I'm surprised you asked for a sample when you already have your own. Ha ha. Look at that. They put HM Magazine as the dirtiest player. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Here we are. I need to flip this camera around. I just want to interrupt this video to say cancel culture sucks. It's so stupid. I forgot to mention the company that I said I was going to mention. These magazine stands came from stickersandmore.com. They also did this amazing giant backdrop that I used to use at festivals for the HM Magazine booth. Anyway, they used to set me up with everything I needed to do my business, not just stickers and shirts and hats, but stuff like this and pull-up banners and all kinds of stuff. So if you're in need of anything like that for your business, your band, your youth group, your brewing company, whatever you got going on, they've got all the kind of stuff you can do for merchandising and advertising and sales racks and retail stuff. So stickersandmore.com, been doing business with them for decades, like 3 or 4 decades now. Great company. There we go. Hook 'em horns. Yeah, that's what you see at heavy metal concerts. Hook 'em horns. Go Texas. Here we are at the HM Ranch. And I've still got back issues of HM Magazine available for sale. Wait a minute, Doug. Isn't this some sort of commercialized commercial for your video? Well, yeah, but I'm selling these for the cover price. Like issue number 146 here, I'm selling it for $3.99. It's not $10, it's not $100, but for you, $1 million and I'll give it to you. No, I'm selling them for the cover price. The postage, you know, kind of sucks because it costs about $4.50, maybe $5 to mail these. So the secret is to order a couple of them. But I've got issue number 132. It's a double issue with War of Ages and Cutlass on the other side. And got Thrice cover. Got a bunch of those. Got some with Blindside. Remember that Pastor Bob podcast about Blindside? It was like a fake interview with an 8x10 glossy of Bob railing on Blindside. Do you think that got me kicked off of Facebook because I was impersonating Bob? I hope not. I got 1 million of the 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary of HM Magazine. The only one that actually had a perfect binding. That's right, it had a spine. We got to say stuff on the side. That would be a fun thing to do to design. I got a whole bunch. I got over 100 of the 25th anniversary issue. And still got like a couple of this issue number 98 with Blindside. Even have one copy of a print on demand after HM went out of print and was digital only. We had links with lulu.com where you could get a copy in perfect binding again, printing on the spine. I love doing that. This was the last issue of HM Magazine, issue number 150 with the Devil Wears Prada on the cover and a really cool back page graphic. What was the deal about the back page, Doug? We just reserved it for a presentation of the gospel or some Bible study. We also, for you metalheads who don't like Blindside or Starflyer 59 or Pedro the Lion or Cat Thomas or Sufjan Stevens, we've got a ton of these. And these are selling for the cover price of $2.95. For these, we got a bunch of these. Here's the ones we have, 90, 89, 86, which is the 25th anniversary of Heaven's Metal, which has the top 100 Christian metal albums of all time list, categorized and compiled by the Heaven's Metal staff. Okay, do you remember when Roger Martinez did his Vengeance video and he showed a slow pan of his bookshelf to let you see what he was reading? And Justin Bieber doll that I gave my daughter. And there's a Joe Namath action figure. It's not a doll, not a doll. It's an action figure. The statue I made when I was in high school. So let's see. It's something. The God Men. This is a book about a cult called The Local Church. A guy named Witness Lee is the leader. And I have a friend who was stuck in that cult for a while. I hope he's not anymore. I really want to read this. I haven't written this character bio about King David by Charles Swindoll. He's a great writer. Here's Fieldy's book. And there's a cool devotional. Shepherding the Child's Heart, good book for parents. Hind's Feet on Hind Places. That is a classic. Piercing the Darkness. I really like those Frank Peretti novels. A book on the Soviet Union from Time Life Books. How about that? Let's see. Where are some books? There's a picture of me sticking an auto antenna up my nose. It's Ace Frehley. There's a movie poster, my wife and I. Here's a prop from the Lust Control Pray for the City video where Butch held this sign up on the street corner. Here's some rock and roll books and some comedy books. I-Beam was a local Austin artist who's really funny. The Rock and Roll Rebellion by Mark Joseph. Francis Frangipan had some cool things to say. The Jesus Generation, Billy Graham. Rocket's Life in the Sun. If anybody wants to check out the other side of Calvinism, what? Arminianism? Check out that book, Life in the Sun. Rock the Planet by Steve Raby. Sinner's Creed by Scott Stapp. Revelation Nation. Here's some funny books by Matthew Paul Turner, who was the editor of CCM for a while. He talks about growing up in the church culture. And the Soul Hunter series and When the Day of Evil Comes were some cool novels by Melanie Wells. This is what happened when the sunshine gets on your copies of Heaven's Metal. It starts to fade a little bit. Here's a great folder I made that had my daughter playing on Ted Kirkpatrick's drum set. There's a Lust Control Fun Feeling poster. Trying to show you some more books. I've got Grace Rules. I love Grace. This is like Screwtape Letters, modern day adaptation of that. Harvest of Sorrow. I never finished this, but I wanted to read that. It's about the Soviet Revolution. All the millions of people they killed, innocents and all. Drugs, All You Need to Know. This came out in the 70s, and it had a glossary, a turned-on dictionary in the back of different words like, Betty's, Black Betty's, like, or speed. Speed means amphetamine. And there was an entry for Big Red, a cherry-flavored soda pop popular in Texas among marijuana smokers. How funny is that? And The Boy Who Cried Freebird. That's a funny book. Has some time travel short stories in it. And there's some DVDs. And here are some prototype copies of my books. And, man, I wanted to show you some really cool books I get a lot out of that I want to make a mention of. Here's some more classics. Knowing God by J.I. Packer. Dudley Hall is like the champion of grace. It's a book on grace. 20 Hot Potatoes Christians Are Afraid to Touch by Tony Campolo. He's super liberal, but he's got some good things to say. Kind of a great preacher. The Psalm 23. A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23 by Philip Keller. I highly recommend this. It goes through this 23rd Psalm and references insight from being an actual sheep shepherd. Deliver Us from Evil, about demonic possession. The Economy of God. When I mentioned that cult over there, this is the cult's book, one of their classic books. I got some, cult books. I got a copy of the Bhagavad Gita over here and some other stuff from other religions. Yeah, that's the cult. And speaking of cults, there's Walter Martin, The New Cults, which had the local church in there. There's the Screwtape Letters. There's The True Vine by Andrew Murray. You want to learn about prayer and also being unified in the body of Christ and abiding with Christ, check out that book. The Christian Secret of a Happy Life, another classic. The Calling by Brother Andrew. Oh yeah, there's some good books right there. And here's some translations. This is the Living Bible. This is the Bible that I read when I got saved at age 11. Look at that. It's no secret I love Jesus. And it's a paraphrase on Tyndale Publishing. And I really like to highlight and look. I was really impressed with John chapters. I was starting in 6, chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10, where Jesus is confronting Pharisees, and he's basically saying, before Abraham was born, I am, making himself out to be God. This came out in the 90s, God's Word. They had a ton of Hebrew and Greek scholars, the best of the best, probably, and they made a translation that is in a modern translation in today's language, and it's a really good one. And look at this, my rainbow John 1:10 Bible cover. People might wonder about that today, but back in the 80s, man, the rainbows were all about Jesus followers. The Message by Eugene Peterson, and including with the Psalms. That's a paraphrase too that's really cool. Matthew Henry's commentary on the whole Bible, and an exhaustive concordance with a Bible app and the internet. You don't need a concordance like this as much anymore, but boy, what a great resource that is. There's a Bible dictionary. You can look up Greek and Hebrew words. Anyway, there's a little tour of the HM offices. Here's a bunch of old magazines I am going to sell on eBay whenever I get the chance. It just takes forever to do that stuff, like Cross Rhythms, Paste Magazine. I got some Relevant Magazine. I got some CCM magazines. And I'll leave you with a look at my latest project. I'm doing some coverage, a preview of this rock and roll rock opera on the Nativity. And I'm rendering a video from an interview I did. There I am as an inset asking the questions. The Nativity rock opera is called He Rules the World. You hear more about it later on heavensmetalmagazine.com and my blog at hmmagazine.com. Anyway, join the discussion. I hope I didn't bore you to death.